Happy Monday morning, everyone. It's a holiday, so the kiddos are home with me today, so Ellie wanted to say hello for my Monday morning video. This is just to introduce the next module, and I wanted to say a word about The Last Man. I wanted to make sure we just thought about Lionel Verney and his growth throughout the novel. So I know the reading response had you kind of compare passages about the pandemic to what's going on in our world today, which is of course a fascinating way to read The Last Man, and I hope that you all enjoyed, if that's the right word, enjoyed that comparison. But we also could talk about the growth of characters, which we do with a lot of the novels often, and we haven't really done much with The Last Man. So I just wanted to ask you or have you think about, where does Verney end up by the end of the text? He starts out at the beginning by himself, and that was very destructive, and we saw his destructive personality. But now he's by himself again, and so I'm just on the last couple pages. It's probably actually the third or fourth paragraph from the end, and it says, "A solitary being is by instinct a wanderer, and that I would become. A hope of amelioration always attends on change of place, which would even lighten the burthen of my life. I had been a fool to remain in Rome all this time. But it was still possible that, could I visit the whole extent of earth, I should find in some part of the wide extent a survivor." So we see here Verney is by himself again. He calls himself a wanderer. He's solitary. And now he's going to get in a boat and just sail around the world in hopes of finding another person. So we see him sort of seeking that community, and that it's important. And then the last few sentences of the novel: "Neither hope nor joy are my pilots. Restless despair and fierce desire of change lead me on." And so we see that his motivations are sort of despair, restlessness, but a desire for change. And so it's just something to ponder if you think that perhaps Verney is experiencing his solitariness differently at the end of the novel than he is at the beginning, and what about the pandemic has changed him possibly. The other thing that I wanted to mention that I'm very excited about for this module is we sort of have a guest speaker in this module. So if we were meeting in class, I would be inviting a student, a former graduate student who graduated or is working on her dissertation, and she would come and talk to everyone in the class about Dickens and the periodicals. So I just want you to be aware that when you go and watch some of the videos, you'll see Elizabeth Travers is her name, and she is the one that's sort of talking to you and working you through this module. She came up with the reading response questions and the engage activities. So the format is exactly the same. The due dates are exactly the same. You won't notice any of that difference, but I didn't want you to be surprised by Elizabeth's voice and her face. And I did also want to mention that the idea of the periodical, which we haven't talked about yet, was really important in the 19th century. One of the most popular literary forms of the period. And so it's really important that you go down to the handouts and especially the videos, and you will see there where she has uploaded information about the periodicals, and you can learn about it. So be sure you look at those. It will help you to understand Dickens' story. I'm really excited about this shipwreck story. It's interesting to read with lots of good themes, which Elizabeth will kind of walk you through. And so that's sort of the plan for this week, and I am interested to see what you all have to say about Dickens and his story.